We're doing live now, so.
Remember, we're filming from home,
Right.
so please don't judge us for what you may hear or see. Carrie said you're doing better than me with the live. It never works properly. Listen, at least it's on, right, Carrie? So the first thing we're gonna do, before we even really get started, we got a couple things.
We got some business to tend to.
Let me see if I can follow who's on with us this way. So the first thing that we have to tend to is there was a raffle, right? So along with the raffle, and Carrie, give me a thumbs up if I sound good enough. But there was a raffle that we did. We put out a picture and we asked, how old were we in this video and not video in this picture. And this and you guys had to guess whether it was our late teens, whether it was early 20s, late 20s, or early 30s. And so today,
what did most people say?
Everything.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't too many late teens.
Okay.
I think a lot of people thought it was. You could turn that off now. I think a lot more people thought it was like early 20s. But the people that guessed right. Let me see who these people were. Let me see if I can go to because I have them all in a jar.
All right.
Okay. So those people who guessed right, which was C, I was 28. As a matter of fact, I had just had a birthday. We were on our way out to celebrate my birthday.
We're going to Baltimore.
Yes, we were going to Baltimore. And yeah, we had a good time. And so I was.
Oh, yeah, we did, man. Wow.
That's why I said. We had a good time. I was like, don't say where we went, but we had a great time. I was just turning 28 and he was 29, the old head of the bunch. So, hey, Marquise. So the people who guessed right were Carrie Peace, Jamie, is it Levi or Levy?
Levi.
Jamie Levi, Jessica Colazzo, More Precious Than Rubies, which is Tamara, Shay Nikki, Shadea, Jaquetta Foster Lee, Patrice Grace, Destiny Marie, Miss K, Carlock, and my sister. Now, I was going to remove my sister, but then I'm like, that's not really fair because she doesn't have a concept of when the picture was taken. But I figured, what you think?
Who was it? My sister who?
Melissa.
Let her in.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said I'll let her in. Now,
she was younger like that.
That's what I'm saying. She was younger. Yeah. So look, all your names so y'all can see. They're in this cup, right? And we're going to shake it up so y'all can see the winner. We're going to get that out the way first, okay? I need this down because it's like a feedback. Okay. You ready? Hold on. Do like this. Everybody's name is in the jar. Ready?
Shake it, baby.
Yes, shake it.
All right.
Who's it going to be?
And the winner is
Miss K Carlock. Yay, Miss K is the winner. So y'all can see. There's no cheating. Y'all can see the names. They're written. You can see it. Okay, so Miss K, I will reach out to you. Hey, Joelle. E.O. Sciolio. So, Miss K, I will reach out to you to let you know what you won. Periodically, we are going to be doing challenges like this just to get some interaction with you guys and to make sure that y'all are, tuning into what we have going on. So that was the first order of business. The second order of business was we received our very first question. It will be anonymous to you guys as to who sent it. But to us, it's not anonymous. We know who it is. Moving forward, if there are any questions, maybe you're in a relationship, maybe you're in the beginning stages of a relationship or the middle of a relationship, engaged or married, and you have questions that you really want to ask, but you don't want to ask your friends or you don't want people to know where the question is coming from, send it to us. And on the Fiery Furnace, we will ask the questions and we will dive into it and we will ask y'all to jump in. What you think about that, babe?
Yeah, I think it's a good deal. I don't know what the question is. But,
how don't you know, baby? We have to go over this question. What do you think? We didn't discuss the answer, but I gave you the question.
All right, well, you got to give it to me again.
Okay, the question was, if you have friends of the opposite sex prior to being married, should there be rules after you are married with these relationships? So if I have a guy friend, before, like, actually I did have a guy friend prior to us being married. Once you get married, should there be rules about these relationships? So someone, again, I won't tell you guys who it was that asked the question, but that is the question. You guys can chime in. What are your thoughts? And then him and I. So just to let you know, we do not discuss. I gave him the question, but we don't discuss our individual answers because we felt like in order to be fully transparent, we're just going to let it roll. Okay. We didn't want to.
So what say you?
So what do I say? And also give us what your thoughts are. If you're married or engaged or whatever the case may be, and your mate has friends of the opposite sex, do you think that there should be rules going into the relationship?
Give them an emoji so they can tell us yes for this emoji or no for this emoji.
I don't know how to do that. So if y'all know how to do the emoji thing, or you could just write in there, whatever's going on, right? So what I say is there should absolutely be rules going in. I don't know if you remember, you should remember, but before we got married, I have a friend that I went to Mill Hershey with. His name is Kevin. He was like a brother from like the time we were younger. We've never had an attraction to one another. We've never seen each other in that light. As a matter of fact, he went to Grambling State University with me, so I would not have to be by myself. Marquis said yes. So I wouldn't have to go to college by myself. So he was like the brother that I didn't have at that time because we were close in age. It was almost like my twin brother. And before I got in our relationship, I did tell my husband, like, look, I have this guy friend. I want you to know there's never been an attraction. We've never done anything. And so I want to be respectful because if he comes around, if he's in town, he's going to come around, things of that nature. And Kevin is still my friend to this day. When he comes around, we hang out, and Lamont knows that there's boundaries, and there's never been any weirdness, right? You don't feel like there's ever been any weirdness?
There's not no weirdness, but you're not me, and I'm not you.
Oh, so what?
So
okay,
I feel that there absolutely should be boundaries.
Right.
I think that the need of a friend of the opposite sex when you're married, I don't think that it's as necessary as when you're single.
Right.
Because I think that your mate should take on some of the role of the things that your friend was taking on. Mm-hmm. You should be able to shoot information off of your mate.
Right.
You should be able to, confide in your mate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a slippery slope when you get to being able to confide in other people. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Especially of the opposite sex. I think there's certain intimacies that are reserved for your marriage.
I agree with that.
So, but I know Kev, and I know the dynamic of being a Milt,
right?
Milton Hershey, But at the same instance, I don't think that I would have been afforded the same. Yeah, I don't think that I would have been afforded the same.
So, the fiery furnace gets fiery, y'all, because let me tell you, this is authentic conversation. We have not had this conversation before. Yeah. I actually agree, though. I will say, and I don't think that this is fair at all. First, let me just say that Joel said boundaries are always a consideration when dealing with married folks, especially if you're not married. That's a really good point. Like, when married people have single friends of the opposite sex, that's definitely.
Even when you are married.
Yeah, even when you are.
Because you're you need to utilize the person that God has you in union with in order to work through these certain things, these insecurities, shoot these questions off.
Right.
And that person needs to utilize their mate. I think that, when you're single, you utilize people for a certain reason, but when you're married, I think that you utilize your mate for that reason.
I agree.
That's
good.
My opinion.
Carrie P said, I wouldn't say rules, but naturally, out of respect, if the friend truly respects and loves you and your partner, he or she would naturally position themselves to respect the relationship. Yeah, that's good. Because a friend that didn't respect that, are they really your friend? And at that point, it would cause a conflict because you're not able to pick anyone over your mate. So that would cause more of a conflict than a little bit. Whiskers, go. And then Marquis said there is a liability. Hold on once, guys.
All right.
Nuh-uh.
What's going on?
Okay. There is a liability for temptation I believe, is what Marquise said. Right. So
I agree.
hold on, give me a second. Move whiskers.
What's going on?
No, ain't no
This
leavers.
is my cat, y'all. My cat Whiskers. It's my buddy.
Hold on, keep talking, babe. Give me 1 second.
But yeah,
I gotta grab something.
I agree. I agree with you, Marquise. I think that, I think it's a slippery slope anytime you start trading intimacies with people that God never intended for you to be intimate with. I think that it can become troublesome, and I think you need to utilize the person that God has given you to work through some of the issues that you might have. So I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Oh, so that yeah. So the person who sent this question in, listen, yes, there should definitely be boundaries. But back to, I did want to say something. I forgot what I was going to say. It was the part about him when he said he doesn't feel that he would have been awarded the same respect of a female friend.
I know it.
You know that
I have friends.
You're right.
I know it.
You're right.
So and I mean, these friends were legitimate friends. You know what I mean? But in the same instance,
so
okay.
Since we want to go there, they could have been legitimate friends, but we didn't discuss these.
They were.
They could have been legitimate.
No, they were.
They could have been legitimate friends. However,
you see, I just keep saying this. You see what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
I mean, okay, you're saying that they were okay. So they were legitimate friends, right? But
that's it. See, this is what I'm talking about. That whole
wait, let me finish.
Hold on, but there's a mindset here that's going on.
Okay, well,
that causes her to believe on some level that I can't have friends. You dig what I'm saying?
No.
You see what I'm saying? So there's this is what I'm telling you. You're going to see a lot in this.
So listen,
fiery furnace, a lot's going to be revealed.
So let me just say this. Let me say this. I think that, how do I say this? I think that sometimes men will pretend that they don't recognize that maybe they see people as friends, but a woman knows the energy that she's feeling from other women. And in all honesty, he can never say that he's ever felt this energy with my friend of the opposite sex. His friends, it was like, you ever been around somebody and it's almost like the creepy, sneaky, like, oh, hey, girl, how you doing? But it's almost like type of thing. That's the energy that I was getting. Also, wait. Also, yes, definitely. Also, at that time in our life, we were into two different things. And I didn't trust the environment.
Let's deal. Look,
Joel said, I'm staying out of this.
Let's deal with that. Because early in our relationship, we all, I think whenever you come together, you bring your stuff with you. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that she brought with her into our relationship were insecurities on some levels. And I think that those insecurities,
was it insecurity or distrust?
Could be either one.
It was distrust.
But when you bring them into the relationship, it wasn't distrust with me. I was just a recipient of it.
No, it was distrust with you too.
No, I didn't.
And when we go into our little story here,
we're gonna explain.
You see how you tried to finagle that to see.
We're gonna explain.
It was absolutely distrust. No. The difference between me and you is, I had even at that point, there was never a reason for you to distrust. You had no reason at all to ever think, well, what is she doing? First of all, my friend was long distance.
But in this same instance, in this space,
right,
there was no reason for you to distrust either. In this space, if we're being honest, see, that's the thing about the fiery furnace. This is why I get hot. This is why the fiery furnace gets so hot.
These questions are going to get hot.
You have to be. If we're gonna do this, is the difference between us and other folks. Right. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna be absolutely real about the entirety. So
let's be real.
We can roll this right into
to the finale of the first thing.
To the story, right?
Okay, so we have a story that we have to finish off because we promised the viewers that we would, and then we're going to get into the topic tonight. So last week we gave the beginning story of where this kind of distrust came in.
That's not where the distrust
so I came with some distrust prior to this. Right. But this is the thing that threw the distrust over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. Okay, so there was a young lady, he was acting funny. He was moving funny. And you were definitely moving funny.
For the sake of your story.
Oh, you wasn't moving funny?
For the sake of your
First of all, people think that they slicker than what they are, but okay. Yeah. So he was moving funny, left his phone at home. We talked about going in and out of phones. Yes, I have dug in phones. Absolutely, I have. He claimed that he hasn't. Okay. But then again, he didn't have a reason to, so that makes sense.
That's not, you need to stop that. You need to stop saying that.
You said you never dug in my phone.
You need to stop saying that, but it's not.
Women
don't dig in phones because they have a reason to. No, stop. They dig in phones because the phone's available. Let's be honest. If we're being honest, you know what I'm saying?
Let me see my water. It's getting hot in here.
But don't be like Nelly. but you know, I didn't have a desire to dig into phones. I never had a desire to.
I had a desire to. Not ashamed of it. Absolutely did it. I did it. And so, here's Jamel Poteet saying true. So what's the truth? We gonna see what the truth is.
I know what Coach is saying is true.
Okay.
What he's saying is true is because women dig in phones because they're available. They don't necessarily have to have a reason to dig in their phone.
Okay.
It's a woman's nature to want to see what's going on there.
Well,
this goes back to the Garden of Eden. I don't want to go biblical.
So listen. So if that be the case, then men should probably not give us a reason or should not have anything in there for us to find.
Okay.
So we're going to go to the part where...
What's up, brethren?
So what happened was he left his phone at home. The phone was there. I absolutely dug in the phone and I found a message that said, "You have 24 hours to tell her about me or I will." Who are you? And what does he have 24 hours to tell me? Now, what we got into last week was that we were not married yet. However, we were in a committed relationship. And I had already had some...
Miss Vicky, get your girl.
Distrust, And so now, okay, what we about to do? So here we go. So we're going to finish this story up. I call this person. And so what does he have 24 hours to tell me about? And no. You said he had 24 hours to tell, about what? And she basically proceeded to say that they had met each other and they were liking each other per se, and they got very close and it became an intimate situation. And so what we mean by intimate? And so she said, yeah, it went all the way. And I'm like, oh, cool, interesting. Why did he have 24 hours to tell me? And she says, well, because I felt like you needed to know, because when I told him that we needed to make more of a commitment, he expressed to me that his love was with you. And so I felt like you needed to know. And so I loved Christ back then, but I didn't necessarily have anything that controlled my mouth. So I won't say exactly what I said, but I did want to leave her with the message of, I knew that she wasn't doing me a favor. I knew that she didn't care about my feelings. Her intentions were to ruin what she thought she had ruined, because clearly what woman wants to find that out? However, I did express to her that it wasn't my fault that she had become a bit of a blow up. And that someone was expressing their frustration of our relationship out on her, who he then decided not to commit to. And I told her that I was not going to discuss with her how I was going to proceed with him, but if I ever saw her, that I was going to bust her head wide open to the white meat. And so, yeah, so that's kind of how that story went. Okay. And then I had to confront him, because my relationship was with with him. So what are your thoughts about that?
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go back.
Let's go back.
I want to rewind a little bit.
Rewind.
Early in our relationship, as I was saying, my wife brought a lot of distrust into the relationship. If I went to Turkey Hill for a loaf of bread, when I came back, I was questioned about where I was, what I was doing.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Who I was doing it with. It was an extreme version of interrogation that I was going through. I mean, daily.
Right.
Daily. Okay.
That's true.
And after a while, I acted out. Okay. I acted out. But what I want to express to you is that at that stage in my life, I was immature. Now, a mature person who sees that someone has a problem with distrust, a mature person knows how to help them to trust. An immature person will push them further into distrust. That's what my actions did. My actions, I'm not proud of my actions, and if I could go back, I would not have done it because I just don't think I didn't think it was the mature thing to do in hindsight. But a lot of young people that are young couples who experience things like this, they oftentimes do the thing that they're being accused of, and they utilize the justification of, well, I'm accused of it, so I might as well do it. But when you have come into a state of maturity,
right,
you realize that God didn't place you in a union with somebody or in a relationship with somebody to further damage them. But you should take on the responsibility of trying to build them up the best way that you know how. And I wasn't in a state in my life where I knew how to do that. I was not mature enough at that point to know how to do that. And I think it has a lot to do with some of the things that I brought into the relationship. She brought some distrust in the relationship, but I think that I brought a measure of immaturity into the relationship. And these are things that I would advise any couples that are getting married,
right,
to really do some soul searching prior to getting married.
Yes.
Know who you are. Come to grips with your shortcomings.
Right.
And try to work them things through prior to coming into union with somebody. Because, like I said, God doesn't bring you together so that you can further destroy the thing that you're supposed to love. And so,
yeah,
I take responsibility.
No,
I take responsibility for that.
And I will say, on the flip side of this story, that he was, really just getting home. He was away for a little bit, and he was just getting home, and we kind of came back together off of a teenage love.
Don't hurt me again.
Hey.
Don't act like you know that.
I do. I was vibing with you. See, we're supposed to.
But you don't know that, though.
So listen, but a teenage love. My husband and I were a teenage love. We have a story, right? And so he kind of, we got back together. But when we got back together, I was getting back with the Lamont that I thought I knew. He was getting with the Kiwana that he thought he knew. But see, we only knew each other hanging out he lived on State Street with all the homies, and I used to be with all the homies all the time. It was me and a couple girls that would hang with all the guys, and me and Lamont, had a thing back then, but we didn't really know each other. So when you're getting into a relationship, you think you know somebody, and you truly don't know them. And we were young, and I did put a lot on this man. Like, if he went to, it didn't matter where he went. I was timing him. I rolled up on him downtown. Joel said, I found Key when Lamont got home. You did. His sister rode up and was like, my brother's home. I was like, so? And and she was like, yeah, right. Gave me the number, and I called him, and we literally have not been apart since that time. But I did not like trust him at all. Like, he would go out with his friends. I didn't mind showing up and being embarrassing. Like, that's not, you know, for women, it looks like, it sounds cool. It sounds, you know, I thank God I thank God for Jesus. I thank God for changing my life. Because it's not cute as a woman to roll up on your man sounding off. Like, I remember he was downtown with his friends, Boo and Tribe, like they were downtown, remember? And me, Angie, and Veronica. Veronica, you know, rest her soul, she hyped us up and had us go down there. And he's down there. He's supposed to be at home. Like, my time limit was like, nothing stays open after a certain time, be home. He's down there on the block eating pizza and keying. And I was in such a rage that I walked over and just popped. I mean, from the from the bottom, I popped the pizza and it was like, boom, boom, in the air. And then I'm sounding off. It wasn't cute. And so I'm not proud of those moments either. So while he can take accountability for the role that he played, I'll honestly say to all the women, I think that we do have a role that we have to play. A man doesn't want another man to be with them in a marriage when they marry a woman. And I think that women have to understand that a soft nature, a gentle conversation, a gentle touch can go a long way. And now that I know even more, I would say pray for your husbands, pray for your fiancés, pray for your boyfriends, because truthfully, there's a lot that tries to drag them and pull them into another direction. So that's the role that I played. I think that I definitely pushed him somewhere where there was, at least if for nothing else, that is nothing else, because she ain't had nothing on me. But peace. She may have been given a piece. She may have just been a shoulder to lean on. But, you know, later on, I had to actually check her again because she tried it. I think that she knows now. She sees me on one side of the block. You know, I'm, you know, ain't nothing going to jump off. But, you know, be respectful and be mindful. I know who you are. So, you know, we just kind of keep it at that. So that's to wrap up that story. Many people thought that we were married when we kind of gave the snippet, but we did want you guys to know that this was before marriage. Yeah. And we still chose to actually get into marriage after that because we felt like we were each other's person. Right.
Yeah. Definitely. So I just want, like I said, man, know that when you come into a relationship with a woman and there may be some things that are going on with her, you know what I mean? You have a responsibility to help her work through those things. And, you know, that's why you have to be mature. That's why you have to do some soul searching prior to being married. Yes. You know how to do, you know, ask the Lord to check your heart, you know. So that's that.
So now y'all got that story out. Right. So the topic tonight, guys, okay, we're getting into the topic and we're not going to be here long, but the topic is, one of the questions that people are posing these questions is, why do relationships get harder after you say I do? Why do relationships get harder after you say I do? Listen, for anyone that's on the feed, this is interactive. I'm trying to keep up with the comments. If we don't see them now, we'll come back and chime in later. But why do you all feel that relationships get harder after you say I do? Again, we read the questions, but we don't tell each other the angle that we're coming from because we just want to be authentic and true to ourselves while helping someone else. This platform is not only for married couples, but for those who seek to be married, those who are in a relationship and growing with your partner. We want you to understand that marriage is not a fairy tale, but it is something that God has ordained. And although you may have to put in the work, some relationships more than others, it is possible to have a successful marriage under God. Amen.
Absolutely. So, you know,
you want to start?
Why do you think it gets harder? Because it definitely you feel the pressure. I don't care. Even if see a lot of people believe that when they're living with a woman, mm-hmm. If I'm living with her, I could just marry her. But let me tell you something. There's a different weight, that comes along with marriage than just living with a woman. Yeah, you can live with a woman for years. But the day that you put that ring on her finger, there's a change that takes place. You feel a different weight on you. So why do you feel that is?
Miss Vicky Pitt said he thinks he owes you. He thinks he owes you. Carrie said because people change and grow. At times people fall in love with a version in time and then forget Oh, I can't read all of it. I need to go in my other phone.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it was sounding good, Carrie and Miss Vicky. Thank y'all for chiming in. So we're going to do better when we come on the live next time. I'm going to have some stuff so I can actually keep up with reading what you guys are saying. But continue to chime in.
I think we really need another person. I think we need our daughter to read these questions.
Yeah, she may have to step in and help us out. But, you know, we're working out the kinks, y'all. Every week it's going to get more and more interesting. I'm going to go to the live. Then that way I can kind of follow the feed.
Others in how they control their marriage.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's true. You know, definitely listening to the wrong source.
Yes. So I guess the question would be to us, do we really believe that it gets harder after you say I do? The answer would be yes.
Absolutely.
And then, hold on, let me see. Oh, okay, so Carrie said, because people change and grow at times, people fall in love with a version in time and forget people change. They age and life and situations happen. People will change. I think that's the reason. And that's very good because oftentimes we fall in love with the version, but we have to realize that I'm not the same person that I was at 27 years old or 19 years old or now 48 years old. And so sometimes people elevate and change at different times. And so those things can cause problems. But for me, I guess the point that came out to me that stuck out and I wrote it down was that the enemy hates unity because it reflects God's design and authority. I'll repeat it. The enemy hates unity because it reflects God's design and authority. Anything that looks like God's order becomes a threat. Anything that looks like the order of God becomes a threat. Oftentimes when we are by ourselves, we're living our best life. We're doing what we want to do. Yes, we're living with one another, but we haven't taken any vows before Christ. We haven't set a covenant with one another. We're just doing what we want to do. We're just living how we choose to live. We're not necessarily a threat to the enemy. Like we're good, you know, but when you make a decision that, you know, I'm going to honor God by, you know, giving myself to this one individual for the remainder of my life under God, knowing that I'm going to change and he's going to change, knowing all of these things that can happen. Once I say I do, the enemy sees it as a threat because we are no longer two people, we're one. And sometimes I think this newer generation, marriage is almost like how do I say it? But some people it's like I can get married because it looks good and I can have this wedding. But in their mind, they're already telling themselves, but if I want to divorce it, I'm going to just get out. And when I got married, honestly, I didn't get married to get a divorce. I didn't get married to get out. And as we continue in this fiery furnace and y'all hear how fiery our furnace has gotten throughout the years of our marriage, the only thing at times that kept me in our marriage was the fact that I took a vow to God for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, for sickness and in health. And that's not always easy for everybody. So for me, I believe, you know, the scripture that tells us that we shall, you know, become one, that two shall become one. And that's why I believe after you say I do, it gets harder.
I believe that there is a journey to get to one. What are you doing? What work are you doing to get to one? All right. So I'll give you a scenario. All right. Usually when you first get married, you can't go out there and get the biggest house. So you get a small apartment, right? Mm-hmm. So say you get married at 25, you and your mate get married at 25. And you want to bring every single thing that you've accumulated from the time that you were 1 year old to you were 25 into this new apartment. And she wants to bring everything that she's accumulated from the time she was 1 to she's 25 into this apartment. I can guarantee you the apartment's going to be a mess.
That's true.
The only way that you can live as one in this apartment, you're going to have to get rid of some of the things that you had. There has to be a certain sacrifice that takes place prior to two people becoming one. You have to go through a season of losing certain aspects of yourself.
That's good.
If you're not willing to lose certain aspects of yourself, you're going to try to merge two things together, and what it's going to be is a mess because there's only so much space in one.
That's good.
So I think that you really have to, you know, we talk about marriage, right? But one of the main components for a successful marriage is sacrifice. What do you have to sacrifice? You have to sacrifice some of you. Some of the things you're comfortable with. The way you think. Some of the ways you think. Some of the things that were taught to you from your family. Some of the things that you experienced in the course of life. If you try to bring all of those things into this singular space, there's going to be an overflow.
Right.
And it's going to create a mess. Prior to coming into the union of one, you have to do the homework of losing some aspects of yourself. And I think that that's what people don't do. They want to bring the entirety of their self into this container of one, and there's not enough space for the entirety of you.
And I think that I also believe that there was a time where people would say things like, you know, get to know each other, court, date, you know, try to get to know each other. Nowadays, it's kind of like I physically am attracted to an individual. I like, you know, on a lot of women, I hear women talking about these lists of what they want from a man. I want them to, you know, look a certain way. I want them to drive a certain way. And I actually had to tell someone recently, like, you have a lot of demands of what you want out of a man, but you don't have that to bring to the table. And so I think that we live in this fast, microwavable world that feels like, let's just hop into this situation. You know what I mean?
What you're talking about, the Bible does not describe that as love, but he describes it as lust.
And there's a difference.
You know what I mean? You have to know the difference between wanting to be with someone because you love them and wanting to be with somebody because you just desire them, or you don't want someone else to be with them. You know what I mean? There's a great difference. And if those things aren't clear, when you say I do, it can become very difficult because now you're working, you have to work in reverse.
Right.
You know, the process, we have to learn how to honor the process to marriage.
Right. Instead
of getting married and trying to figure it out. And we have to surround ourselves with people who understand marriage. Maybe you came from a single home, but if you have an aunt and uncle that were married, you need to sit down and talk to that aunt and uncle. You know, you need to talk to people. Surround yourself with people who have experienced the ups and the downs of ministry. Don't seek out the person who has the perfect ministry, because I can assure you their marriage ain't perfect.
Right.
I don't care what it appears to be. But seek out and don't disqualify the people who you feel like are at each other's throats. Because the truth of the matter is, if they're at each other's throats but they're still together, there's something holding them together.
Yeah.
You know, we have to learn how to embrace the hills and the valleys of our marital life.
Desiree Patterson said, "You allow others into your marriage that have no business being there to influence things." Carrie said, "So couples continue as individuals and forget that they're supposed to be coming together to become one." I understand. It's a sacrifice. I think that what Desiree said is really, really good. And what Carrie said is another point. Oftentimes, to what you said in regards to getting with people who are married, I think there has to be a fine line with all of that as well. Sometimes people idolize. I have seen people in my life who idolize their uncle. Their uncle was their father figure, or their aunt, or whoever the case may be, was a mother figure, a father figure. Maybe you even idolize your mother and father. But if your mother and father, your aunt, your uncle, or whoever had dysfunctional relationship tendencies, you can't then bring that into your marriage as if that's what your marriage is supposed to look like or operate like. Your marriage is between your husband, your wife, and God. And oftentimes people fear relinquishing control or releasing what they feel to be the norm to create their own new norm. Like, I don't have to be his mother, and he doesn't have to be my father. Quite honestly, we can find flaws in any people that were in our family. Coming into a marriage, you have to decide that this is something that you are going to do with your mate. You have to create the will in a different way. And when you have people sometimes speaking into your marriage, they talk, but they're talking from their standpoint of dysfunction. And that's not always, even older people, sometimes people feel like, well, they're older. Are they functional?
But I think that's why it's imperative that you take from a variety of different marriages.
Absolutely.
You don't seek just one marriage, but you take it from a variety of different marriages, a variety of different sources to formulate what you know to be, or what you desire to be, what's desirable for you.
Yeah, that's good. Because guess what? We can learn what not to do as well.
The Bible says in the kingdom there are sacrifices of wood and gold. Both of them, you can learn from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can learn from the good, and you can learn from the bad. You know, so I definitely agree with that. But if you was to ask me, I think that there has to be a time of relinquishing of self in order to become one. There has to be it's a journey to one. It's not just you become one like that.
Right.
There's a journey to get to one, and you have to be willing to do your due diligence in order for it to happen. Or else it's not going to happen without a mess.
And those of you who are on here, who understand some of the struggle of being like in ministry and with marriage, don't allow anybody in ministry to convince you either that you need to hop into a marriage for the sake of what it looks like, for the sake of what your relationship looks like.
Trust and communication is the key.
That's Miss Vic.
She had a beautiful marriage. A wonderful marriage.
Yes. So trust and communication is key, and knowing that, like, don't let people force you into what you're not ready for. I think that sometimes people, they're listening to a lot of different sources and they're kind of, well, I want to look right, I want to be right, I'm not going to take the time to get to know my partner. I just want to hurry up and marry him because we're believers and we don't want to shack up or anything like that. And while that's admirable that you want to live right before God, you also don't want to jump into a relationship with a person that you don't know for the sake of pleasing others, or the sake of looking a certain way. So you learn to look good outside while you suffer inside, and that's something that we talk about.
I agree with that. You should not be forced into marriage. You should not, by a church body, by your parents, by your mate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a commitment that has to come from within. And until you're satisfied with the answer you get within, you don't commit yourself fully to anybody.
Amen.
So
amen. We have anything in closing, babe? Because I think we tackled that pretty well.
I thank y'all for joining us tonight. I thank y'all for hanging out.
Yes, thank you, because it was late.
Us. Like I said, we're always going to tell the truth. We're going to present a true to life married couple. You know what I mean? What you say is not airs. Some of the people that you see on here, they'll tell you what you see is
a lot of them know
is what you get. You know what I mean? Like, but I think that's what's necessary if we want the marriages of today to succeed. I think that we have to show truth and live in our true authenticity. You know what I mean? So that's what we're going to continue to present. We pray that you continue to join us on this journey, this fiery furnace. The fiery furnace, listen to me, it does get hot.
It gets hot.
It gets hot. It gets uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But because we have God with us, we're able to make it through.
Amen.
All right? So if you have God in your relationship, it's going to get hot. You're going to have ups. You're going to have downs.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have God as that third string in your rope is going to be strong enough to sustain you and keep you. So,
that's good.
Just make
that's
sure
good.
You have him.
So listen, before we let you go, these are the ways that we kind of need your help. So we are on a journey, but we're not on a journey by ourselves. We are on a journey with all of you. We love your feedback. We love the questions. We love the realness. Like I said, all of your questions that you ask will be anonymous. And so all you have to do is send it to my my inbox. You could, if you have my personal number, you can text me. Love you too, Miss Vic. Miss you, Miss Vic. I miss you. I was actually talking about you, Miss Vic. I was telling somebody about
I ain't seen your camera for a while.
Yeah, but I was telling somebody about how you were as a when you worked at Marshall with the kids, and like how unbelievable you were, how you were with the kids. But anyway, love you. So. But we are trying to, get this journey together. So when you guys have questions and you have whatever, send them to us. They will be anonymous. We will not tell people who the questions are. This will be the perfect opportunity. If you and your mate you're going back and forth about something and you kind of need an opinion, but you don't want people to know that it's from you, those are the questions that we want. We want you to bring those, because guess what? Then we can say them like this today. We were able to have like a pose the question at the beginning, and you can have other people chime in. Sometimes some of the best things that you can have is other people that are not necessarily totally familiar with you giving an opinion about something, because sometimes it causes me to check myself like, oh, maybe I am tripping, or your mate. So send us your questions. The other thing is we need you guys to follow us on Instagram. We're trying to build some things on there. And so you can go to Instagram. If you don't have one, get an Instagram and check us out at the.ewells. So it's THE.EWELLS, and it will say The Fiery Furnace. You can catch videos. You can catch, Friday Night Lights with us. We show you guys when we're out with our children, when we're out with our grandkids, some of the things that we do as a family.
Eventually we're going to be pulling on some other couples that we know and love.
Yeah.
And doing some round table, doing some fun things.
Yes. That's going to be super duper fun.
Come along on this journey, man.
Right.
We'd appreciate it if you come along with this journey with us.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that this is a season to preserve God's union. And we want to do our part to help you to preserve God's union. I encourage you to sit down with your mate and watch. Maybe there's a question that you guys want to ask.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to necessarily ask your family, but you can sit down and pose the question, and we'll work our way around to it.
Yeah. So we love you guys. We thank y'all for tuning in. Check us out on Instagram. Go check us out. Go follow us, please. And on Tuesdays, please check out the Tasty Tuesday videos. We're going to be coming with some new stuff, and we're going to have some cool guests on, and we're going to cook together. It's going to be really, really fun, y'all. So be on the lookout for some of the couples that we bring, and just join us on this ride. Continue to pray for us as we continue to pray for y'all. In Jesus' name. All right?
Have a great night.
Good night. Now we got to figure out how to end this bad boy. This is there we go.